You're listening to episode 411 of the Fit in Real Life podcast. So far, I do not have an intro, but I will one day. And let me tell you, it's going to be amazing. But for right now, my cat Red is sitting on me, and you might hear her purring in the background. And I just have a little bit of a standard for myself that when my princess Perla, or Red Ski, or Girla Perla, all the names that she has, comes to sit on my lap, I let her. And I let the purring just be nice background noise. You'll move the microphone a little bit closer so you can hear her. I don't know if you heard that or not, but she's pretty freaking loud. She's like a little motor. Today, I want to share with you how I've been putting together my strength workouts and to give you some tips and tricks and to really just dive into the fitness side of things. Even before I changed the name of the podcast, it was still Fit and Vibrant You. And I probably have spoken about fitness maybe like 10 episodes, not very many. So today I want to share with you a bit about strength training and how I put together my weekly workout routine and give you some ideas to make it work for you because you don't have to do exactly what I do, and nor should you do exactly what I do. You want to create a routine that works for your body, that helps you achieve your goals, and also really fits into your lifestyle. So let's talk first about strength training. There are so many reasons why I think strength training should be a non negotiable, unless there is some like out of the blue, left field reason why you can't or why you shouldn't, which I'm sure they exist, but most people should do some sort of resistance training. It is so important for increased muscle mass and strength. It improves your overall strength and functional fitness so you can do things in real life, whether it's putting away groceries or getting up and down off the floor or squatting down to sit on the toilet, even walking. Being strong makes life so much easier. Also, when you have a bit more muscle mass, it helps to improve your body composition. So often we just weigh ourselves on our bathroom scale, which shows you your overall total mass. It does not tell you how much of that mass is fat mass and how much of the mass is muscle. I know a lot of people who are relatively heavy and perhaps would even be on the upper end of the BMI scale, they'd be overweight or even obese, who are very, very lean because they carry lots of active metabolic muscle. Muscle also increases your basal metabolic rate a little bit, not like a ton, just because you have more muscle doesn't mean you can eat, thousands or more calories a day, but does help a little bit, which means that you burn more calories while you're not exercising. In fact, this is a big reason why metabolism drops as we age because we lose muscle mass. We lose about 10% per decade. It is not after the age of 40. It is not inevitable. It doesn't just happen. It happens because we stop using our muscles. It also helps with bone health and bone density, which is something you don't think about in your 20s and 30s, and maybe even not in your 40s. But into your 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond, bone density really matters. And having strong muscles is going to create tension on the bones, which improves the health of your bones, joints, tendons, ligaments, and really reduces the risk of injury. It does help your metabolism a little bit. We've already referred to that just because you are having more muscle mass, which is great. It also helps the production of your anabolic hormones like testosterone and growth hormone, which aids in fat loss and muscle building. It helps your immune system. It's actually one of the lesser known benefits of strength training is its positive effect of your immune system. So regular strength training workouts help to regulate inflammation and also helps your body to fight off infections and illnesses and things like that too. It helps with cardiovascular health. We often think about cardio training like walking and running and biking for cardiovascular health, but strength training also does as well. It benefits heart health by lowering blood cholesterol, improves circulation, lowers the risk of heart disease. It is huge for your mindset. Oh my gosh, your mental health, strength training, honestly, any exercise in general, but strength training is going to reduce depression, anxiety, stress, by releasing endorphins. It's also great because in the moment, it just makes you feel so much better. It also helps cognitive function. In fact, exercise in general helps cognitive function. It helps with hormones like insulin, cortisol. It can improve blood sugar, reduces belly fat, manages stress levels. It's actually really, really good for increasing insulin sensitivity, which not only reduces the risk of type 2 diabetes, but a lot of people, as they get past 40, 50, become insulin resistant, and strength training can reverse that insulin resistance. It also helps with posture, core strength, as long as you're doing the right exercises for you. Really important. Increases longevity, increases mobility, flexibility, prevents injury. One of the things that we're sometimes afraid of with strength training is that we're going to get hurt. And I would say there's more risk as long as you don't overdo it. You have to train smart. You can't just go to the gym and start lifting really heavy with poor form. But there is more chance of getting injured if you don't strength train, because then you're going to be doing things like picking something off the floor or picking up your grandchild. And because you don't have the strength, you're going to tweak your back or you're going to do something to yourself because you don't have the strength. So, strength training also trains you to move properly so you can have that carry over to real life things. It helps you recover, reduces inflammation, helps with body confidence. Just having more muscle mass and just being able to do more can help with body confidence as well. So, lots of huge benefits of strength training. If you don't do it right now, I encourage you to start. If you are in Chilliwack, check us out at ascendfitnesslifestyle.com. We can hook you up and get you started with a 6-week Fit for Life program where we do a full comprehensive assessment. We get you on a workout routine for you. And then every single session at the studio is coached to make sure you are doing things right. Those are all the benefits of strength training. If you didn't already know them, if you are on the edge, if you're thinking like, well, maybe I should be more consistent, maybe I should start, let this be your sign, my friend. Pick up something heavy, heavy-ish, heavy for you, and then put it back down again. Do that a couple times. Build up your muscle strength. It is the key to longevity along with joint health, which also is improved by strength training. I want to dive into now some key principles that I follow when putting together a weekly workout. Now, if you had a room of, let's say, 100 personal trainers and they all were to design a program for you, you would have 100 different programs. It doesn't mean that one way is better than the other or that my way is the best way. It means that there are many different ways for you to reach your goals. And that's a good thing. So you can take all the things and decide, well, what makes sense to me? What do I like? And I'll share with you over the years, I've been strength training for a long time, what has worked well for me and what I'm doing right now that is really, really working. So I personally do full body workouts 2 to 3 times a week. Ideally, three. In the winter, like now, September onwards, it will likely be three. I'm also dealing with some injuries, so I'm prioritizing strength training a bit more right now as well. In the summer, when I am out playing a lot more, it goes down to 2 times a week. If I am away hiking and things like that, I don't strength train at all because I'm out hiking and that's just the reality of what I'm doing. My workouts are about 1 hour. You can do them in less time than that, but that for me includes my warm up, my mobility, my activation exercises, my weak link exercises, my strength routine, and then that's pretty much it. I don't do a lot afterwards. I do not include cardio at the gym currently. I might in the future by doing some finishers. Currently, I don't because right now I'm doing my cardio outside where I hike or I do a lot of walking, that sort of thing, some cycling as well. So, unlike split routines where you do one or two kind of muscle groups or movement patterns per workout, full body workouts allow you to train each major muscle group a couple times a week. I also like full body workouts because it gives me more flexibility in case I do miss a workout. There are some people who go to the gym 5 times a week. I can't see myself in the near future ever doing that. I'm not going to say never. Maybe I will one day, or maybe I'll have a specific goal that I want to focus on. But for right now, three is kind of my max. And so if I do full body routines for 3 times a week and then I miss a day, I'm still getting all my muscle groups at least twice a week. If I was doing an upper body day and a lower body day, or a chest day, a chest and tricep day, and a back and biceps and a legs day. Then if I miss a day, it can be quite a while before I target those muscles. I also tend to get bored. And so if I focus on just like a few movement patterns at the gym, I get pretty bored. I've also done some workouts. I've purchased some programs where I would do a split routine and it was just upper body or just lower body. And I found personally them to be a bit ineffective because I was so tired by, halfway through the workout, my arms were just done that I didn't see the point of working them out anymore. I mean, just putting my hands up to wash my hair would have been a challenge. So what's the point of doing weights anymore? That was my perspective. That could be incorrect. Maybe I will change my mind down the road. But for right now, full body workouts is what I prefer and is how we coach at Ascend. And eventually down the road, I have plans to create more strength routines, stuff like that, as an offering. And that's also how I would do things as well. If you are working with me in Fit and Vibrant Live It, in that Fit for Life program, there are some workouts there, and they are also all full body. I also like full body because it helps to improve my functional strength. So I'm doing things that carry over a bit better to things like lifting and carrying and just moving around in general. All right, so the first key takeaway here is that you can choose between doing split routines or full body routines. I personally prefer full body strength routines. If you were to go to the gym 5 times a week and really focus on that, you could probably do a split routine. I probably would if I was going 5 times a week, but I go 3 days a week, so I get a day of rest in between, and it really works for me. When I plan my workouts, I don't necessarily think about the muscle groups as much as I think about the movement patterns that I'm focusing on. So rarely in my workouts currently do I do things like bicep curls because they're not one of the key movement patterns. The key movement patterns are pushes, both vertical and horizontal. So things like an overhead press would be a vertical push, a push up or a chest press would be a horizontal push. Those target the chest, the triceps, the shoulders. So those are important. I do push exercises. Not every workout, but most workouts. So at least two out of the three I do push exercises. I do pull exercises. So movement one is push, and then pull. So you can do vertical and horizontal pulls. Horizontal pulls are like a row, and vertical pulls would be like a pull up or a lat pull down. Those are going to incorporate the back, the biceps as well. I prefer to do more pull exercises than push exercises just because my tendency and most people's tendency is for our shoulders to kind of round forward and our chest muscles to tighten. So it's still important to strengthen them, but I just prefer to do about 2-to-1 ratio of pull to push. So about 2 exercises pulling, 1 exercise push. The next movement pattern is a hip hinge, and those are things like deadlifts. Currently, I do mostly single leg deadlifts. I find them really effective to strengthen the glutes, helps with balance a little bit, really helps with movement control, and I can get the glutes activated without the heavy load. If I'm going to do a 2-legged RDL or a deadlift, I have to lift pretty heavy, and the lack of mobility that I'm having in my body currently makes it so that doing deadlifts is just not pretty and it doesn't feel good. And I know if I lift heavy enough, I'm going to hurt myself. And so, yes, I could work lighter, but I find it a lot better to work on mobility right now and to work on single leg RDL. So I still get the activation, I still get the muscles working, but without that chance of injury because nobody likes a herniated disc, I'll tell you that. So pushes, pulls, hip hinges are really important. I also incorporate lunges, so a lunge pattern, and that could be things like walking lunges or a step up can be sort of a lunge pattern-ish. Those kind of exercises. Sometimes I do a split squat where you have your back leg up on a bench, or those are sometimes called Bulgarian split squats. They're very challenging. Most of the times I do things like lunges, I'll do them with a bit more of a glute focused. So, really working on my buttock muscles. I also incorporate squats into my workouts. So, squats is a really important exercise. I generally do sumo squats or goblet squats or a leg press or sometimes like a hack squat machine. I personally don't love using the barbells currently just because I lack the range of motion to do them properly. And the chance of injury when I don't have good range of motion is too high. So I do a lot better personally with sumo squats or goblet squats versus doing it with the barbell currently. I am also working on my mobility. I also am specifically focused on core exercises. This is relatively new into my program. I used to do more core exercises by choosing strength exercises that engage my core. For example, a standing one arm chest press would engage the core, a straight arm pull down engages the core. But recently, I've been seeing a physiotherapist because I have some knee issues and I wanted to get a full assessment and just to kind of figure out what I need to target, what I need to work on. And I realize now that my core is quite weak. So I'm also incorporating specific core exercises to make sure that I am doing things right and I'm really activating the muscles by themselves. I also do abductor exercises, and those are muscles that target the outer part of your hips and glutes. They tend to be quite weak. Examples of those include things like clamshells. You could do sideline leg raises, cable leg raises. Those are examples of abductor exercises. And then adductor exercises, ADDUCTOR. That's when you're moving the leg towards the midline of your body. I've started incorporating a couple of those as per recommended by my physio. Typically, I wouldn't have them as part of my workout, but because I have some weakness there, I am doing those as well. So when I create a workout, that's what I think about. I think about all of those movement patterns, the push, the pull, the hip hinge, the squat, the lunge, and specific core exercises, which also include rotational exercises. It's important to do some rotational exercises in your workout plan. A lot of our gym workouts are just in that front and back plane. So, standing bicep curls, a row, all those are just forward and backwards. It's really good to do rotational exercises such as cable rotations, landmine rotations, things like that. I know I'm going through a lot right now, so if you wish to see what I'm doing, just send me an email, tanya@tanyashaw.com, and I will reply back with, I'll give you a little PDF or I'll do some Word document or something like that with the workout plan that I'm following so you can actually see it on paper. But those are the movement patterns that I focus on. Now, before I work out, it's also really important to have some priming exercises to get your body ready. So, these are exercises that for me are mostly dynamic mobility. I have some spots in my body that just tend to be very tight. And if I don't stretch these out first, those become sticking points and they prevent me from moving fully through my exercises. So, for example, currently, I say currently, but this will probably be for the rest of my life because my tendency is to have very tight hip flexors. The front of my hips are very tight from sitting, from poor posture, just the way I'm built a little bit. I have a tendency for tight hip flexors. If my hip flexors are tight and I go to do a workout, I will not activate my glutes appropriately. So, my glutes, my buttock muscles, those big muscles on your bum, they are very important for things like hip hinging, your squats, your lunges. You want those to be active. If my hip flexors are tight, I cannot activate my glutes. So, before I work out, I do some hip flexor opening exercises, some hip flexor stretches. I also do some rotational stretches. I do some calf and ankle mobility exercises too, because my ankles are also pretty tight due to past injuries. So that's what I do. But for you, you want to think, what are the sticking points in your mobility? Are there things that you need to do prior to your workout to get yourself ready? If there is nothing specific, go through a full range of motion type workout. You can do some yoga flows, you can do some standing rotations. You can do some air squats. You can do some toe touches. Just get your body moving through its full range of motion to get yourself warmed up. One mistake I see a lot is that we just do a cardio warm up and they'll go right into strength training. I think cardio warm ups are fine, but you have to do something that gets your body primed for the movement patterns themselves. So I personally do more mobility, some perhaps activation exercises. So, for example, if I am struggling with glute activation, I might do a couple of bridging exercises just to get those muscles activated. So, those are really important to incorporate into your workout. Now, sometimes you can do those exercises separate as well. You might be seeing a physiotherapist or doing some rehab work, or you have some kind of imbalance or weak link type exercises. You can do those outside of your strength training workout. Some people prefer to do 2 or 3 times a week where they really focus on strength, and then a couple times a week where they do the kind of the more activation, mobility, rehabilitation type exercises. I prefer to do the ones that require any effort in my workout. If it's just stretching and I can kind of like roll on a ball or roll on a foam roller or stretch my quads, I don't mind doing that outside my workout. But if I'm going to do anything that requires some intensity, like even things like core activation exercises, I personally prefer to incorporate them into my workout because then my mind is in the exercise kind of mindset. I am ready to work. I'm already primed. I'm kind of feeling more energized. And it's a lot easier for me to do those exercises during my actual workouts. But some people, like I said, might prefer to do it differently as well. So you have your key components, your key movement patterns that you want to focus on. You have your mobility, your priming exercises, your imbalance exercises you want to focus on. Those you want to incorporate into your workout or do them separately, but they are an important part because we typically don't just do movements well without having some specific exercises to correct imbalances. If you live in this real world where we sit and we might have past injuries and lots of things could be contributing to imbalances, you're probably going to have some. And so doing things that can help can really be helpful to help you move well. Now, it's really important to when you're strength training, and this has been a bit of a learning experience for me is I used to always just try to lift heavier and increasing my workout by adding more weight until I realized that strength training isn't just about how much you can lift, it's about how much of your muscles you can activate. So, for example, you might be doing a row, like a cable row, where you're sitting down, you're pulling the weights towards your chest, squeezing your shoulder blades together. And you could be doing it using all of your arms and none of your back. Because when the weights get too heavy, we'll often compensate by performing the exercise incorrectly, by recruiting the incorrect muscles. So it's really important that we, for most of us, bring the weights down a little bit to a point where we can really do it not just with proper form, but with proper activation. Because sometimes you can exercise with proper form, it looks fine, but you're still not recruiting the right muscles. And this takes some education. This is why having a coach can be really helpful. And it also requires you to focus while you're doing your exercises. If you're kind of just going through the motions, it's still better than doing nothing, but it's not as good as the workout you'll get if your mind is engaged, if you're really focusing on what you're doing. Currently, I do not listen to music or anything at the gym. I have my headphones off and I just simply focus on what I'm doing. And that has been helpful. Although sometimes I think I do want music because I get a little bit demotivated or just not as energetic. So I think listening to some good Latin dance music or something would be helpful. But that is something to really focus on is to make sure that you are performing the exercise correctly and you're really focusing on the muscles that you're working. You're keeping your mind engaged. And all this is great if you do it. You have to be consistent to get results. Consistency is key. Now, I used to change up my workouts all the time. Currently, now I am keeping the same workout for longer so I can start to increase my reps and my sets and the weight that I'm doing over time and really start to get used to and like learn how to do the movement properly. Consistency is key. If you strength train once every few weeks or twice a week and then nothing, you're not going to get the results that you want, obviously. Anything is better than nothing, but what you do on the long term is what's important. And so it might for you mean that you're going to do a 15-minute workout. Is I do an hour workout. You don't have to do an hour workout. Maybe your workouts are half an hour, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it is. Make it doable because consistency is huge. Sometimes we get so caught up with what's the perfect plan? What's the perfect split? How many reps and weights or sets should I do? What's Before we even talk about that, get consistent first. It is the key. So that's really important. And then I sometimes also like at the end of my workouts doing finishers. So finishers are just little ways you can change up the workout. Sometimes, well, currently, right now, my finisher is a core circuit that incorporates some of my physio exercises. So I do that at the end. Sometimes my finisher is a set of kettlebell swings and box jumps. I'll do something like 10 kettlebell swings, 10 box jumps, 9 kettlebell swings, 9 box jumps, 8 kettlebell swings, 8 box jumps. Or you can do a core circuit where you do things like dead bugs or planks or opposite arm leg raises. You can do lots of bridging as a finisher. You can do a minute of a regular bridge, a minute pulsing, and then a minute of just a bridge hold. That's a great way to get your buttocks burning. You can do a cardio finisher. Maybe you're going to do 30-second sprints on the treadmill or the bike or the rower. You can do a Tabata where you do 20 seconds all out of some sort of exercise, 10 seconds off, repeat that 8 times, something like that. It can be short, it can be less than 10 minutes, but sometimes having those finishers can be just a great way to get that extra cardio blast, especially if you're doing things like high intensity interval training or sprint training. So that's how I put together my workout plan. I do a strength training workout about 3 times a week. I always start with mobility and some of my priming exercises that are meant for my body, the ones that I need to work on. I then do my complete movement patterns. So the push, the pull, the squat, the lunge, the something for rotation. I should do some abductor, adductor exercises. I think eventually I'll be doing some more calf exercises too. I don't do them right now, but things like that. And then at the end, I might do a finisher if I have time or if I want to, or if I have it on my plan. I shouldn't say if I want to, because I often don't want to, but I do it anyway because it's on my plan. Currently, I don't do a lot except for my core exercises, and all of my cardio is currently outside. But as the weather shifts, I might be doing some more high intensity interval training at the gym after my workouts just to get that extra bit of cardio in. But right now, I'm usually running out, not running outside, but hiking outside or biking or something like that. I'd say about 3 times a week. And then I strength train about 3 times a week. I also walk quite regularly as well. Outside of my strength workouts, I do extra mobility almost every day. Before my cardio exercises, I always do about 5 to 10 minutes of mobility, stretching out my hip flexors, stretching out my quads. I do a bit of yoga flow, some rotations, about 10 minutes or so, some piriforma stretches, things like that. Before I work out, I think it's really important for me to keep my body limber and loose. If I just go into a run or a hike, my body feels terrible. So making sure I do that. I walk most days a week as well. And then because I am working on some physio things right now and I have some mobility issues, I also do mobility on its own downstairs in my basement. My cats love it when I do that. They just hang out with me and play with the bands. They're so cute. Not red, just the black kittens. Calvin and Cassie come down with me there. I do that a couple times a week. That's usually foam rolling and things like that. So that's how I put together my workout. And I know it's so easy sometimes to feel overwhelmed because, or you don't feel like you're fit enough to start, or you don't have enough time. But remember that everyone begins somewhere. And the most important thing is to take that first step. Whether it's incorporating strength training for the first time, maybe you want to add more mobility work, do what's an improvement for you. What am I willing and able to do to get started? Consistency over time is what creates results. So if you're starting out, start with short sessions. One of my amazing clients, she knew she wanted to get into strength training and had such a hard time doing it, but she was consistent with her walking. She did walking indoors with a YouTuber, and her action step was to add 3 exercises to the end of her walking workout. So she would walk no matter what. That was just a habit she was consistent with. Then after her workout, she would do 3 exercises. And then if she walked, 4 or 5 times a week, every day she would do 3 exercises. And that was enough to start to build some strength. It doesn't have to be a lot. Do not overcomplicate it. Do not let perfection get in the way of progress. Do not let great get in the way of good enough. Do what you can, get going. And if you want the workout, just send me an email and I will send it to you. My email address is tanya@tanyashaw.com. All right, my friends, talk to you next week.